All right, let's knee him over to DTS. DTS, baby. Right, guy. Episode 6, A Point to Prove. This was the Williams deep dive with Jost Capito.
Yeah.
And my first takeaway, we recently were talking about the hair podium when it came to the drivers. Jost Capito is obsessed with those feathered bangs. He's constantly
he is.
flipping his hair and running his fingers through his luscious coif.
He's got like a boy's cut, you know?
Yeah, and he's built like a garden gnome. Like he looks like one of the most huggable guys when it comes to team principles.
Well, he's also really jolly. Like that was my biggest takeaway of watching Jost work behind the scenes is he's like way more jovial than I was expecting from a team principal.
So yeah, he's definitely like
fun to work for. Yeah.
Funny. He sort of, I think he's very good at creating a fun atmosphere, right? But he's demanding, but also isn't a constant asshole the way we imagine Larry Stroll is and what the news would make you think that comes out of Aston Martin. What is it? Aston Martin Cognizant Aramco Formula One team.
Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant F1 team. That's the official team name this season.
Yeah.
But don't forget, Larry Stroll, he's not a team principal, right? He's an owner.
Yes,
but
exactly.
But he acts like a team principal.
But recently the news has been that he's going in every meeting and he's taking on every role now. But back to Williams and Jost. So the other thing I noticed, Ron, that's what I was wondering, though. He obviously has had supreme success in rally.
Yeah.
And he seemed like just this fun-loving kind of goofball. But you could definitely see where I'm sure he's also, he likes to have fun while also taking his job very seriously. Like you had that shot where he goes back into the garage, the hospitality tent, whatever, and starts chewing everybody out like, this is unacceptable. And then you hear George Russell talking about like, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people who have probably gotten complacent and been here for a decade plus, and he's going to start shit-canning all kinds of people.
Yeah. He also, I kind of get the vibe that, I mean, obviously any team principal is under pressure, right? Always. But I get the vibe that he has some comfort in his situation and with Doralton Capital, that he has, I don't know how many years is on his deal, but I get the vibe that he knows he has like a 4-year shot at turning this thing around.
Yeah, I mean, and he's always having meetings. That's what I think we talked about previously as well, how involved different, C-level and executive people at Doralton are in the Formula One team.
I was shocked how often they are around him.
Right.
That would suck.
Like, it's not just board meetings or something. Like, they're coming to race weekends and hanging out in the trailer waiting for him,
Dude, they're on either side of his shoulders in the middle of the race.
Yeah. So Jost also treated us to an epic story from his rally days where he was talking about the navigator and the driver kind of one of them losing confidence. The driver was, like, losing confidence. And
he said, grab your balls?
And, yeah, Jost told the navigator, go grab his balls for me. And then when they came by later,
squeeze his balls.
Yeah, squeeze his balls. And then he said, when the driver came back later, he goes, did you squeeze his balls? And he said, yeah. He said, did you feel them or were they there? Now go driving. Or
yeah, I love it.
Yeah, so that's the motivational tactics that Jost is bringing to Williams.
Yeah, you got to love it.
Do you think he had George Russell squeeze Latifi's balls to reassure Nick Latifi?
If he did, George squeezed Latifi's balls all the way off.
Yeah, based on his performance in the past like 4 or 5 races where he just sees ghosts and goes into the walls.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't considered that. Going back all the way to Abu Dhabi, Latifi has wrecked out of the last 3 races, hasn't he?
Right.
Did he wreck
been struggling in the Middle East. He was the one who set up the chain reaction in Abu Dhabi. I don't know that he did in KSA. A bunch of people were involved in different wrecks last year in KSA.
He wrecked in KSA. Over the
this
weekend.
Year. I'm talking about last year. I know he did Abu Dhabi last year.
What about Bahrain? Did he wreck in Bahrain this season?
I assume
I don't
so.
remember.
Safe money's on yes, but I can't quite recall.
Okay.
But
Mood, how sick is the museum at the Williams factory?
Yeah.
When they're walking through there, you see all those amazing old winning cars.
And old Williams look so great.
Oh, yeah.
And we love the Martini Williams days. And I was reminded, Ryan, the Rocket Williams livery has to be an all-time bad livery. When you see that, and it's like the ombre, like white to blue, and then you had the red rocket all over the place. It really was an awful livery.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess.
Yeah.
Williams cars have traditionally been predominantly white with like blue accents, right?
Yeah.
So, and you see that in the museum. You see the old Saudia sponsored Williams cars, and they were still almost predominantly white when Senna was driving it.
The other takeaway,
they've gotten away from that though.
Yeah, they've gone radical now. They're back to the blue, but God, that rocket fade from white to blue was so bad. So the other thing, Ryan, Jost is also like, he seems like a little rock star somehow. Like you saw where he comes on a motorcycle in with like, was that his wife on the back or a mistress or a girlfriend?
I wrote a note about that too. I said,
yeah, he comes biking in with the biddy on the back of his bike.
I know. Him and his blonde squeeze, who's like, was she taller than him?
I think he's definitely a short knocker.
He is short.
She probably is.
Yeah, good for him, man. That guy's living the life.
So the other takeaway I had, Ryan, because obviously they're going to focus on George Russell and Spa having that epic qualifying session and then the race being jacked up by weather, so he basically finishes second without any real laps being turned.
Mm-hmm.
Formula One and the mechanics and the whole pit lane are obsessed with the squeegee, where it's like pissing in the wind. Like it's pouring rain and guys are squeegeeing water off of asphalt. Like it just seems like the most fruitless job of all time. We joke about.
Well, I'm convinced that in every pit, there's like an unwritten rule that you cannot be seen standing around.
Oh yeah, there's always like
there's so much busy work.
Where guys were just like using a tissue and wiping. Yeah, guys are wiping the wings with like.
Yeah, I mean I know that's a legit thing. Like you get the dust and whatever debris is on the car off because it helps your drag.
Right.
It helps with reducing drag. I get it. But just whenever they cut to the pits and you see that one guy or two guys like with a spray bottle just spraying random parts of the car and wiping it down, like those guys who run out to try and wash your car at a red light.
That's what the mechanics are basically.
That's what they're doing. It's funny to me.
Yeah. And kind of the big bit in this season, or not this season, episode 6, A Point to Prove, when you had George Russell when he got that P9 after he had been fighting for points forever and just started crying like a baby in the interview afterwards.
Yeah, so I got a kick out of that because I remember that interview, right? The one that they showed where George starts crying. But then they showed like 3 more interviews with 3 different networks. And George was crying again in each one. Yeah. I was like, fuck, how many fucking interviews did this guy cry in after the race?
Yeah, there's been a lot of George crying throughout the season because they've used that in a few episodes, I'm pretty sure.
Dude, now that I think about it, he's a big crybaby. He cried when he wrecked out of Imola, last year or 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was going to get his first points. He wrecked and cried. And then
that was when he was like sitting on the side of the road. He's always sitting on the side of the road crying after he doesn't score points.
Yeah, I can't remember if he cried when Frank Williams died. Probably.
I'm sure he did. I think we all shed a tear at least.
And then there was another, obviously, when they got the first points. Or no, when he didn't even get them, right? It was Latifi that got him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he was the first one to score for Williams. Yeah. Well, actually, I mean, before him, Robert Kubica, or was that Alfa Romeo?
Latifi scored.
Yeah, I'm all confused now. But either way, yeah, George Russell crying after getting his P9, then he gets a second place. The big takeaway for me from episode 6 is just I enjoy Jost Capito. When we can get his name right, he's an entertaining character. He's not on the Gunther Steiner level. Gunther Steiner is the Brad Pitt or George Clooney of Drive to Survive. They find a way to get a Gunther clip into every single episode.
He's everywhere.
Yeah.
Can't stop him.
Yeah.
So I had a couple more notes about things I enjoyed. I liked the segment where Jost was talking about the walk of shame. How if you were the worst team last season, they put your motorhome at the very end. So he was like, this is a fucking reminder.
And how he always brings it up with everyone. Yeah. He's like, remember this walk. Look at all those teams that beat your ass every year.
Don't ever forget how much you hate this walk.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're going to be doing it again. They're most likely going to be doing that walk of shame again next season.
Yeah, this is their one season where they don't have to walk all the way to the back, and then they'll probably be back there with Larry Stroll.
Yeah. Did you enjoy when Jost was donning the cowboy hat? He was like, this is great.
Yeah, he's a cut-up, man. He definitely is a fun-loving guy.
So it's been a while since I've watched these last 5 episodes, so I can't even remember what these notes were about. I'm just going to read them to you, okay?
Yeah.
So I wrote, George's little boy butt. I believe that's because George made a joke about Valtteri showing his butt.
Oh, yeah, he was talking about, am I going to get some more time without showing my butt or something like that?
Yeah, but he had like pants on and he like turned his butt around, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, George has got a little boy butt on him.
Oh, I mean, he's a stick figure, right?
Yeah.
Like we joke about...
And he's an androgynous robot.
Yeah, we joke about Esteban Ocon, who is the Slender Man, but George Russell is like the hangman stick figure. He's very tall and just long.
Yeah, he's pretty slender as well.
Yeah.
What else did I wrote, you forget how ridiculous the Turn 1 pileup was in Hungary, courtesy of Valtteri Bottas.
Yeah, that is one of the big takeaways when you rewatch Drive to Survive.
They
you
show that
remember some of the
replay
crashes and
so many times.
And you get all these different angles that in the race you didn't quite catch, and you start remembering like that was such a shit show.
Yeah.
Like the Silverstone wreck, you see that a million times in Drive to Survive season 4, and you see all kinds of new angles and wrinkles. But yeah, you rated Neum to episode 7. It was fun seeing Jost Capito trying to bring Williams back up.
Yeah, I enjoy when we get these episodes where you get to see,
teams that don't get coverage during the season, right?
Just the inner workings of each team is fascinating to me. Just walking through the museum with Jost, him talking about the Walk of Shame, all that stuff. That is where Drive to Survive excels, in my opinion. They need to focus on that shit.
Yeah, and I love seeing all the Umbro gear that Williams has.
One last note for this episode. Rest in peace, Sir Frank Williams.
Yes.